All right guys, J Munt here, and we are back with another video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded one. I'm gonna update you guys on a lot that's happened since I uploaded the last video when we dynoed the RSX and we had the head lift. So as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and stuff, yeah, we're having to do a whole nother motor. What happened was, after the dyno, we had a little bit of head lift. I made the mistake and reused the ARP studs we had. We used them like 4 times, and one of the studs that I reused, the nut was not screwing on all the way, so I had to kind of get that one stud rethreaded. But when I did that, it made that one stud weaker than the rest of them because that nut didn't have enough to bite on, you know. And so when we was on a dyno, it so happened to do it at 16 pounds. And so slight head lift, all it did was send boost to the radiator and busted the plastic OEM radiator, no problem. Tuner said that that all we have to do is, it's only gonna be like $300 worth of work, get a new head gasket, get the head resurfaced, new ARP studs, and go about your day, come back and retune. Well, not saying no names, but we had a buddy of mine, or acquaintance of ours, help us out on it. He owned the shop and stuff, and we ended up taking it down there to him, and I still think to this day it was just a mistake. We was kind of rushing that night, putting everything together. We got the head resurfaced, new studs, OEM gasket. I was filming, you know, while we was torquing the head studs down and sending to my tuner, but it didn't hit me till later on that I'm gonna say we, because I think it was all, I wouldn't blame one person, because we was all there that night. We should have known better. But we forgot to put ARP lube on the nut and washer. We put it on the threads that's going into the block. But as ARP says, it's most importantly to put it on the actual nut and washer, because that's where the clamping load is being torqued at. And so, long story short, as soon as I didn't think about it till after we got the motor together, I was rest assured that everything was gonna be fine. So that's what I did. I ran it, and so I had to suffer the consequences. The head ended up lifting up a lot worse than what happened on a dyno, and unfortunately we end up cracking a sleeve, and I'm gonna post a video and picture of that right now. And so, yeah, that's what happened to the built K24 bottom end that we had on there. Unfortunately, as you can see, it sent a piece of the sleeve, broke off, and actually went into cylinder 3 and ate up the forged piston and ate up the top of the head. And so, I'm gonna fixing to show you here. We was able to save that K20A2 head. This is a K24A2 motor. And as many as you know, if there was something gonna be done with that head, I heard the K24A2 head flows similar, but I was told that even though this is still a good head, it still is not as good as the K20A2 that came out of the 02 to 04 RS6 Type S's. So, with that being said, I built that built motor whenever I put my hardest into that motor. Each paycheck went into that motor. I did that when I was living with my family, and so I didn't have no responsibilities. But now, fast forward, I got responsibilities. I got rent, I got stuff I got to pay on. Fortunately, the rods were fine, but the pistons, we were going to need a new set of pistons, and that was going to be another $800 plus machining. So, as many of you know, our dyno numbers that we've been having on this thing has been around the 400 to 450 range. We did make 500 on the 5831 that we did. My tuner don't even know that day how we made that on pump gas with the stock return list system. And so we still know to that day, but I don't have the money right now to build another forged motor, so we're going to go with the stock K24A2 bottom end, which I've been heard and seen that they've been pretty bulletproof, around 400 to 500. I even seen 600 to 700 horsepower. For those power levels, how long it may last is yet to be determined. It really depends on application. But as many of you guys know, I barely had the time to have some seat time on this car since we've got it boosted 3 years ago. So, but I'm pretty confident that everything should go good. This motor has 119,000 miles on it, and it seemed to be healthy. It had a 30-day warranty on it, but unfortunately we let the 30-day warranty go out, so we just had other stuff going on. But I'm pretty confident, guys, that this should be a good motor, that it's going to be pretty healthy. And so we've already opened up the oil pan and stuff, and it looked pretty clean in there. But what we're going to do is today, I got my friend JJ here. We're going to go ahead and flip this over. As many of you know, the K24 oil pump has balance shaft on it. It doesn't flow as good as the RSX pump, so we're going to delete that. We have a ported K-Mod performance oil pump, the same oil pump we had on the built motor. Oil pump did phenomenal. We had extremely good oil pressure, around 100 so. And so I'm sure it's going to be very beneficial on the stock bottom end, stock bearings, to have that extra oil pressure. Plus it'd be giving us the safety to rev higher past 7,800 RPM, which is the factory rev limit on these. And so with the K24s, I heard they started to cavitate past 8. I heard some people push them stock 8,600, but to me, I think that's pushing it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put the Type S oil pan back on, and we're going to install this baffle to keep oil within that pickup area for if we have any hard G-forces of hard braking and cornering. This is just going to give us a little peace of mind. And so we're going to go ahead and get started on this, and we're going to put brand new ARP studs in, but we're going to do it right this time. All we're going to do is make sure that we clean out the head stud threads just with some brake cleaner. Flip the motor upside down. We're going to be careful when we loosen up the OEM. This motor has never been opened up before, so we shouldn't hopefully have no issue with bad studs or anything like that. Uh-oh, box fell. Yeah, and this right here was the old studs, guys. And one of these studs, you can see right here, you can see how this one's all shiny. You see how this is all kind of, you know, darker, and this is all shiny. This is where I had to get that this stud rethreaded, and you can see how the threading has kind of made it flat. So when that nut got on there, it kind of just stripped up because there wasn't no bite on it compared to this. But yeah, these were the older studs there. I shouldn't have reused them. I should have just bought new air-free studs, but you know, hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's how you learn. But we're gonna make sure we put this stuff on the nut and washer. ARP even said to put it on the top of the nut where the nut is gonna lie on. It says don't even put it on up under the nut, because you don't want that nut to be spinning on the head while you're torquing it down. So I didn't even know that either. So we're gonna, like I said, make sure we do this thing right. We're gonna do the right torque sequence. We got an electronic Harbor Freight torque wrench. Everything should be good on it. This thing is accurate within 0.3%. So I don't think we're gonna have much problems with it. And also, guys, I'm gonna give you an overview of all the stuff we're gonna be putting on this thing. We got an action clutch we're gonna put on, 6-puck, and we got a new OEM replacement. We're gonna put a new timing chain, new timing tension, new OEM head gasket. And guys, this is what I'm really excited on. The Turbonetics that I showed you guys, Turbonetics even went over and redone the whole turbo, and actually made this bigger to like a, I think 58 something. Don't quote me on it. I'm gonna post in a subtitle. But this is a 750 horsepower rated turbo, ball bearing, and I just told them I wasn't too impressed with our last dyno number, so I thought it was gonna flow more than the 5831 precision we had. But they said, hey, bring the turbo in, we want to make this right. And even when we had the head lift, we think we didn't have 100% compression, but since the head lifted so bad and it sent so much coolant through the turbo, I sent the turbo in to get inspected. And I said, hey, since it's down there getting inspected, because sorry, I had cut out. But after I sent it down there to get inspected, I told Turbonetics, what could we do to kind of get it to flow a little better? They said, no problem at all. We'll give you a bigger compressor wheel and a new 4.5-inch anti-surge housing. So I'm very hyped on that. And still ball bearing, guys. We have a V-band compressor cover, and it made the exhaust wheel a little bit bigger. I'm gonna post the specs in the subscription box, but that's what we're gonna be putting on this thing. We're gonna be able to flow more air. We should be able to do capable 500 horsepower. And so we're excited on that, but we're gonna go and get busy. We're kind of behind right now, and so we're gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing down, being JJ, and we're gonna go and work on the oil pump. So we're gonna take you guys with us along the way. Got JJ here taking out the oil pan bolts so we can get to the K24. oil pump. All right, guys, so we got the oil pan off, and you can see here how the K24 oil pump is. They have these two balance shafts on here, and so we're putting the RSX Type S oil pump, and you can see here how this is a lot simpler. These here has balance shaft on it, so these are more designed to dampen out any of the engine harmonics and cause it to be kind of like, you know, a smooth ride. Whereas this is a lot simpler design, and it flows a lot more oil than what this does. And this is ported too, so we should have plenty of oil pressure. So we need to take this K24 oil pan baffle out, and we need to also plug up the K24 oil squirter that lubes up these balance shafts to run this oil pump. So we're gonna have Jay here take apart the timing chain cover, and yeah, we're gonna get that going. So all right, guys, so we just got the K24 oil squirter out. We just stuck a little nail in there, pull it out just like that. So we're gonna put a screw in there to plug that up. Make sure, guys, when you're on the K24s, plug that up to run the K20 pump, or you're gonna lose the oil pressure and kill the motor. So we're gonna go do that real quick. But we got everything out, and getting ready just to tighten up this, button up everything with the oil and stuff. So all right, guys, so we got everything done on the oil pump. Now we're getting to the head. Gonna remove the OEM head studs right there, and go ahead and put the K20 A2 head on, and put the ARP studs in. So that's it. That is it. All right, guys, so it's the next day. We went ahead and torqued the head down last night. We're gonna go ahead and just do one last retort and make sure everything's still at 80. But just do an overview. We got the oil pump on, baffle, and everything looks good on here. I'm just doing a check over, and we still gotta put the oil pump guide. We got the oil pump chain tensioner. So other than that, everything's looking good up here. All the baffles in, everything's tight. The Loctite, the lock washers are on there, so it shouldn't be backing anytime soon. Oil pump bolts are torqued down, and so got the K20 oil pump chain, so everything's looking good on here. So we're gonna flip it upside down and just do a little retorque on there. We're gonna go install the timing chain guides, new timing chain, new tensioner. All right, guys, so we got the cams on. We got the TSX exhaust cam and the RSX Type S intake cam. So the TSX exhaust cam has more aggressive lobes on the primary and the VTEC lobe than the RSX exhaust cam. But whereas the intake lobe, the TSX intake primary lobes are more aggressive than the RSX Type S cam. But the RSX cam has a slightly higher VTEC lobe, so it's going to be a little bit better for top end, and plus we're using a K24 bottom end, so that's going to compensate for the slightly less aggressive primary lobes anyway. And so I think it's going to be a good combination. We're going to see. I've always used just the RSX exhaust and the RSX intake, so we're going to just use the best of both worlds and see how that work out. Got everything here in time. See, you got the gold links right there lining up, and we got everything going here. We got the two lines there. Got the brand new OEM timing chain tensioner, a brand new timing chain. Got the gold link there. You can't see it linking up. And we also got the two lines there linking up on the sprocket. So we're gonna go ahead and release the tension, and go ahead and do some rotations there. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that out some, that way this has full tension, and we're gonna do a couple of rotations and then put our timing chain guide which is going to be our fail safe if our timing tension ever lose tension. It's going to prevent this teeth from skipping a tooth. And thought I had it somewhere, but I'll show you guys when I get it on. And we're gonna put the oil pump chain guide. So we're gonna go and try to get ready to button everything up. Show you guys it's important to try to get as much tension on this thing as you can. So take your flathead, put it in there, and kind of pry up against it right here. I managed to get one click. Let me see if I can get another one here. That go another click right there. And so that way, just make sure this has full tension. That way it doesn't skip a tooth. Check the gear marks and stuff. And so yeah, just want to throw that out there.